Welcome to Unlimited Horizons, this coaching session kicking off all the other coaching sessions here with me, Jim Parker. I have over 30 years of experience coaching people, and I'm so glad you invested in this journey that you're about to take. I think it's going to be well worth your while, and it's going to pay big dividends, big returns on your initial investment. So thanks for joining me. We're going to jump right into it. In this first session on becoming your best you, the power of thought, we're going to talk about three aspects that are foundational to you and I becoming our best selves and what power our thoughts have to make that a reality in our lives. Let's get to it. Three sections, three areas in your life that if you change these areas, if you develop them, I guarantee you your life is going to take a dramatic upturn. Are you tired of the same old, same old? Do you have dreams of a bigger future, a better future, a brighter future? Do you have dreams of that good life? I guarantee you, you can live it. And it's all a matter of mind over matter. It's all based in what you and I think about, because thoughts become things. We become what we believe, and you're going to hear that a lot because that is essential to life. So what are these three things that need to be changed, that need to be developed if we want to live our best life? The first is adopting an attitude of gratitude. As you and I adopt an attitude of gratitude in our life, we change our thinking from the negative to the positive, and it will change your life. We're going to get into that initially in this session. The second is positive affirmations. As you choose to daily make positive affirmations, and we'll get into a little of the basics of how to do those and where you can find some great ones. As you do that, you begin to rewire your brain to a positive mental mindset that shapes the reality of who you are. So, adopting an attitude of gratitude, positive affirmations, and finally, the power of belief. We're going to talk about the power of belief today and what it does to literally rewire, to reformat the hard drive that is your brain. We're going to get into some stats on that and kind of probably the way you've been thinking and how you can change that thinking and what it will mean to you when you do. So thanks for joining me. Let's get right into it. The most foundational, life-changing element for me in my own life, in my own journey, came when I made a conscious decision to adopt an attitude of gratitude. Now, don't get me wrong, I've always been a pretty positive person, but I did not realize how much of my life had been wrapped up in thoughts of fatalism, thoughts of, oh, nothing's going to go right for me. How could it go right for me? Until I made this small tweak in my life. And here's how I did it. Here's how I set myself on a journey for being grateful for all the things that I have in my life. I made a decision just a few years ago to not let my feet hit the floor, literally, until I had listed a handful of things that I'm grateful for. And since that time, every single day, that's how I start my day. When my eyes open and I wake up in the morning, I immediately began to list some things I'm grateful for. Now, don't get me wrong, even till this day, I'll have times to where I wake up and my mind immediately begins to try to go to all those negative places. The task I have for today, the problems of yesterday, they'll try to flood in the things I need or that I want. And then I just simply push them out. Thoughts are like leaves on a river floating by. You can just watch them go by. They can come and they're going to come, but you can choose to say, nope, I'm just going to let them pass on down the river. So I let those thoughts pass on down the river. And I start by adopting an attitude of gratitude at the very beginning of my day. And I start to list at least 5 things for me. A lot of times it's more. A lot of times my list gets exhausted and I'm there for a few minutes. But I at least list 5 things at the beginning of my day that I'm grateful for. Some of my things are categorized into what I would consider big things. And it's things like my family. I heard somebody wisely say one time, what if tomorrow you woke up and you did not have any of the things you were not grateful for today? That's a good way to figure out what you're truly grateful for in your life. And I know for me, it's my family, it's my wife, it's my kids, significant others in their life. Those things are huge for me. So every day I go down the list and I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my oldest daughter, my youngest daughters, my oldest's girlfriend, my youngest's husband. I'm thankful for these things in their lives and in my life. And then I go all the way down to what I would consider small things. A lot of times I'm just thankful for the cool breeze blowing in my window at night. Sometimes I'm just grateful for the nice comfy sheets in my bed, or the nice warm comforter here in these Wisconsin winters. I'm grateful for those little things in my life. I'm grateful for those things like friendships in my life, people I know, the dinner we had the night before, those kind of things, and I began to list them. Now, what does this do? Two things. First of all, it puts you on a higher wavelength, vibrationally speaking, energy speaking. Everything in our universe is in an ocean of motion. If we could focus in on your body today and go into the microscopic and then the submicroscopic level, and we could look at your atoms and we could go into those subatomic particles, there's motion going on all the time. Everything is in a different state of vibration. And first and foremost, starting your day with an attitude of gratitude puts you in a higher vibrational energy rather than a lower vibrational energy. And guess what happens when you do that? When you operate in a higher energy, you attract higher energy to yourself. You pull it to you in this universe. So you're moving towards it, it's moving towards you. And we'll talk about a lot of that during this series. But that is that law of attraction that's universal, both physically and spiritually and mentally. And your thoughts have energy in all kinds of ways. We'll get into more of that later on in the series. But for now, just understand this. When you get up and you start with what you're grateful for, you operate on a higher vibrational energy for the day and you attract good to yourself. The second thing that you do, when you begin to start your day with what you're grateful for, you start with your haves rather than your have-nots. And that is huge in our lives. When we begin to realize what we have rather than what we do not have, it sets the tone for our day. Do you know gratitude is one of the most powerful forces, emotions that's out there? Emotions have these different levels of energy, of force, of what they do in our body physically, the kind of chemicals your body's putting out when you feel these emotions. And gratitude is one of the highest ones. Gratitude and love and some of those big emotions, they're huge for the benefits they do for your body and the energy you put out into this universe, into this world, and draw back to yourself. So it gives you this higher energy level to live in for the day, and it starts you on your haves rather than your have-nots. It puts your brain in a positive place. It literally physically flows through your body to give your body a more healthy experience, a better experience. Your day's going to be better when you choose to start it with an attitude of gratitude. So what about that second thing? Positive affirmations. A little later in my journey spiritually, I began to choose that once I got out of my bed and I went to get ready for the day, while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm fixing my hair, while I'm doing my things, if I take my shower in the morning, I'll turn on positive affirmation videos while I'm doing all of that. Usually the ones I listen to are only about 10 to 15 minutes long, just a few minutes out of your day. And if you've not done any positive affirmations, let me tell you what they are like. They basically take different topics and different things you want to experience for the day, and they put them in a present tense, live in the moment, now version of what it is you want to become and you want to be in your life. So instead of saying, I hope one day to be rich, I hope one day to be happy, I wish I had a significant other in my life, positive affirmations put in your mind on a perpetual loop, I am happy. I am in the relationship that I've always desired. I am abundant. I am experiencing the wealth that I've always wanted. It puts it in a present tense form, and you start to bury that down into your subconscious to drill it down. and it literally changes the way you think. And as you partake in positive affirmations over time, what happens is you reprogram your brain to believe that anything is possible, that any life you want to live, you can live, and you slowly reprogram your brain. Let me tell you an amazing statistic. How many thoughts a day do you think you have on an average day? Well, for the average person, you're having about 60 to 70,000 thoughts going through your brain on a given day. And guess what? For most people, 95% of those thoughts you are having today are the same thoughts you had yesterday. Do you know what this means? This means that you are thinking the same things over and over and over. And if it is true, and I believe it is, that we become what we believe, that thoughts become things, guess what? You are shaping the reality you've always shaped. There's an episode of the sitcom Seinfeld that I love where George, the character on the show that is always kind of a loser, kind of nothing goes right for him, adopts this practice of changing the way he looks at life. And Jerry tells him, George, if every instinct you've ever had has been wrong, then the opposite would have to be right. And George starts doing the opposite of what he's always done, and it changes his life completely. And the truth is, there is some truth to that. If you don't like the way your life's turning out, it starts by changing the way you think. And as you think in a different level and in a different way, you move your life to a different level and a different plane. Let me tell you practically how this has worked for me. Back, I don't know, long ago, what I would do every day after work, I would come in and I would turn on my PlayStation 5 and I would play video games. My wife would read, she would watch things on her iPad or whatever she did, and I would play Madden. I would play Call of Duty, and I spent hours a night doing that. And for many, many months and years, that's kind of my practice. That's what I did. And as I began to kind of move my life more into these positive areas of attitude of gratitude and positive affirmations and beginning to believe new things were possible, guess what? I began to lose interest in those video games or binging on Netflix. And don't get me wrong, I still play some video games. I still watch Netflix. I still do some of that. But now my life has taken such a turn that I spend time investing time in things like this coaching series, the book that I've written on positivity. I've begun to focus more and more on those kind of things. Why? Because I changed my thinking, and over time, my thoughts began to become things. They became a book. They became this coaching series. They became the TikTok platform that I'm on, where I touch lots and lots of lives through positive coaching. It became all these things in my life because I changed my thinking. I rewired my brain, and I quit thinking in that 95% of thoughts that I'd always thought. And you can do the same thing in your life today. You got to start thinking in new directions. That's what it is all about. So start off with adopting an attitude of gratitude. Train your brain to focus on your haves, not your have-nots. Move on to some positive affirmations. If you need a place to go on YouTube, there's a guy called Tyler Brown, absolutely free. I love his meditations. I love his positive affirmations. He will help you get started on the journey, and you'll find them all over the internet, all kinds of places for whatever topic or thing you're wanting to drill down into your subconscious to be or to become. You can find positive affirmations, do them daily, and they'll start reprogramming your brain. And then the final thing here is the power of belief. Man, the power of belief, I could go on for hours, and I will not. This is just kind of the foundational summary of some blocks to start building into your life. And I just want to tell you a little bit about this amazing concept. What we believe we become in our life. What you focus on and what you think about, you will become. Have you ever been around somebody that you work with, or maybe even in your own family, that's a negative Nelly, that everything is always going wrong for them? And the more that goes wrong, the more they talk about how wrong their life is. That's an example of how thoughts become things. Do you have anybody in your world, in your family, in your life, in your coworkers that is just an encourager, that you just want to be around, that you're just drawn to that person? My wife has an uncle that I barely know. I've only met him on a handful of occasions, but anytime I'm around him, he is a motivator. He's one of those guys that ask you about yourself and your life and what you're doing and what you're dreaming. And he just puts out this positive energy that makes me want to be better, and it makes me want to hear more of what he's got to say. Why? Because he has a belief that big things can happen to everybody in life, and he is one of the influencers that set me on this journey through just a little bit of interaction. What I am talking to you from today is my iPhone. This thing films in 4K. It does high quality video just like this. A handful of decades ago, this was unimaginable. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought that we would be doing what we do with these phones today, that they would become part of our person, that they're literally almost attached to our hands, right? We hold them all the time. We look at them. We go through them all day long. No one that is other than Frank Canova in 1993 is an engineer for IBM, and he dreamed up and developed the first smartphone. All the way back in 1993, Frank had a vision, and that vision became a reality, and now that vision is in all of our hands, and we do all of our life through it and with it. Most of you probably right now are watching this video from that little device that Frank came up with in 1993. Why? Because it started as a thought in his head, and it became a thing. He brought it into reality. And the same thing is true for your thoughts. Wherever you're thinking today, those thoughts are going to lead to things in your life down the road. If you want a better life, start thinking you have a better life. If you want a brighter future, start believing you have a brighter future. And a big key to this, and we're going to get into more of this later on in the coaching series, but it's all about attaching emotion and feeling to your beliefs. If you fully are convinced that you're not going to just one day maybe live a better life, but you become convinced that the better life you want is on its way to you and you're on its way to it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start reprogramming, reformatting the hard drive of your subconscious. You're going to start thinking new thoughts, and it's going to lead to new directions, and it's going to lead you to those new places in your life. 6 months from now, you're not going to be playing video games or watching Netflix. You're going to be doing your thing that you love to do, that you're made to do, that you're passionate about, and you're going to be moving in that direction. And those things are going to be coming into your life on a regular basis. I wish I could tell you all the things that have changed in my life the last couple of years as I've changed my thinking, because those thoughts, again, are going to become things in your life. So that is the basics of the foundations that you need to live your best life. It's all about the power of thought and what it can do for you. I want to invite you to join me in the next session where we're going to go even deeper. Thank you again for joining us here at Unlimited Horizons. And that is what your life is on track for right now. There are no limits to your horizons. You can go anywhere you want to go, be anything you want to be, and do anything you want to do. Go after it and start applying these principles today.